from recent gaming. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen BMG play the War Beast.
It is a very interesting one. Some people have been going for the War Beast ban here, and of course there are some players that actually play a lot more offlane War Beast, but not something that I think I agree with you. Not something that we've really seen too much out of Boxy, really, or anybody else on the team, but they don't want to play it for some reason. But I mean, continue walking us through here on the draft because we're already well on our way.
Yeah, we got Legion banning out Legionnaire, Tempest, and Cthulhu, while Recent Gaming takes out Andromeda, the Flux, and the Tremble. So there's a lot of heroes that were picked up in the last game banned out this time. We got the Puppet Master for BMG as their carry choice, and we got the Devourer. Yes! We're gonna see some more hooks from Boxy.
We talk about comfort heroes, and I'm not sure that it gets more comfortable than Boxy on Devourer. And this is a message as well. We're going to beat you, and we're going to beat you our way. So I really do love seeing BMG comfortable in their own shoes here. Baltazar on his Puppet Master. I mean, Miraxis, another strong hero. I just love this team over here from BMG. So very strong. The guys on Reason, they've got some extremely strong heroes themselves, but I mean, they're really never going to be able to take a team fight from the look of it.
No, I'm not entirely sure how they're going to lane this either. Devourer, by the way, picked up after the Bubbles. So Bubbles is usually a counter pick to Devourer, but them picking Devourer after the Bubbles kind of tells me that Boxy, yeah, he just wanted to play this hero for some reason. And I guess it's at the LAN event. The ping is optimal. It's not US East. It's not a shitty Europe server or anything like that. It is actually like the ping is on top, and there are going to be some really, really swift reactions here from both teams. So let's see, last pick coming out from Reason. They got plenty of time to think about this one, and they should. I think that they are missing either their Force hero or their secondary support. They're going to go with the Magnus.
So once again, we're going to go ahead and see the Magnus. Last time Ruta Z had a little bit of trouble playing the second support Magnus, but came back in the later portion of the game, had quite a bit of impact. Tankafant, now we're going to have to see how he fares with this one. Played an excellent Ophelia last game. Wasn't enough. Magnus certainly going to be a little bit more impactful, one would think. But, I mean, how do you see the lanes breaking down now?
From BMG, I'm still not entirely sure. Actually, we're going to see a really fast port up at the top. He's going to go for the Spider Mines. I absolutely love this. I have to be quiet, though. I have to be quiet. I
Make
cannot
sure that
allow
they
to
don't
scream.
give it away. And he gets the ward down as well. So last time you saw BMG with the pre-prepared ward and the hook. So it looks like their initial movements in both of these games very well planned out. I got to assume that after the series last night, BMG went to the drawing board and said, we got to figure out how we step up our game, take Reason down, and of course resume our throne as world champions.
Do you know what this is? This is a Forest Devourer. He's got the longest hatchet. He's looking to do some freaking mega pull or something. I don't know. He's chopping down the trees down here. He might have a plan to actually jungle Devour somehow.
What he's going to do here.
You know?
He's going to go ahead and hook these creeps right here, and the creeps are going to try to walk down this path. It's going to get all the way over here, and it's going to grab a creep wave. It's going to drag the creep wave all the way up into this area and to this camp right here.
What?
And then they're going to jungle it.
That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. Is that possible? I've seen Devour jungle a little bit by pulling the hard camp, but this...
I've seen this in Dota 2 before. I have not seen it in Han. Similar mechanics between the jungle Devourer and the jungle punch from Dota.
I'm so excited to see this.
I think that's what he's going to do. That's my only guess for this one.
What happens if he fails? If he fails, everything is ruined. Everything relies on this hook. I assume that Boxy has been practicing this day out and day night, but... Oh man, this is going to be fun to see. By the way, where are those spider mines that we were talking about earlier? They are up here at the Hellborn side. Who's going to be up here? It's going to be Clanks. If he can actually get a first blow on Clanks, that would be huge.
That would be a very good start. And it looks like Boxy is going to be using a ground courier so that he spots out the camp. I got to watch this. I'm sitting here with the camera on this, although I am going to go ahead and take this over here because there's a lot of people moving around. But Boxy, he's got to get the timing right. He's going to try to pull this one, I would expect, at about the 58-second mark. I think that's when he's going to want to grab these creeps.
Roger that. We will see countdown 4, 3, 2.
Oh, nope.
What? The longest hatchet.
Okay, what? Okay, he's just stacking.
Oh, he's... What?
Okay, he's not... Oh, there's the hook.
Okay,
Or he
he's
grabs it.
stacking the small cap.
Oh my God, I'm so smart. And he's gonna grab it, and they're gonna walk all the way back around.
And the Airborne lead supporter is like, okay, where is Devour? We're gonna look for him, but we cannot find him.
I'm just saying, hashtag game knowledge right now.
So he's actually stacking the easy camp, and on top of that, he's stacking the hard camp as well with the hook, as well as pulling the freaking creep wave to his hard camp.
Pocket strats.
He missed the Vagabond leader though. That's really unfortunate
I mean,
for
he
his
still
part.
got the experience. It's
got
certainly not
that, but-
ideal, but I mean, he's got the mechanic down. The
Oh, look at the bot lane, by the way. They're going to find Engineer. He's in trouble.
He's going to go ahead and drop one Spider Mine right here. Does a little bit of damage. Puppet Master going to be trying to put in the autos, but it's not going to be enough. First Blood going to be going the way of Reason Gaming as Swiftblade going to be spinning on out of there with that First Blood.
So where do you go from for Devour? If you're still here, like where do you go? Do you go DK these creeps here? He's going to Veil Rot instead.
I'm not actually sure. I think that
Oh my god, he's going to Veil Rot the creeps. This is so next level. Boxy!
this is like the definition of next level at this point.
I've never seen either of these two tricks.
Oh my God, they're pulling out all the stops. They know that this is the match that gets them into the playoffs. This is the match that gets them into the money, and everything rides on this one. So they're busting it out right here. Already over 1,000 experience ahead, even though they gave up First Blood.
Oh, look at this. By the way, Magnus down in the bot lane. No, they're going to spot out, or they're going to use the puppet show, but they're not going to follow it up with a keg. Of course, Engineer got the mines, so yeah, that makes sense.
And so it looks like Devourer is in the vicinity. He's going to be trying to maybe get a hook onto the Magnus. No, just going to be forcing him out of the jungle.
Look at Root of Sea, by the way, at the top lane. I'm not quite sure, but Reason somehow felt forced to rotate Mora up here. And he's level 2 with the Clanks, but Mora or Midas already level 4. They're not going to be able to touch him. And now Mora is coming in from the side, but it's Spider Mines. He needs to be careful.
Does indeed. Midas knows he's there because of the Ward of Sight. He might even try to turn around. He's going to have to walk
I don't know.
through the mines.
If he's smart, he jumps onto the mines now. He's going to go down
He's
perhaps
just a little bit
before.
out of mana.
Is this going to be a bait?
Wow,
Is this going to be the
huge.
double tap?
1 and
Oh my
2!
God!
The guys from BMG are so next level right now as Root of Z able to get the double tap courtesy of his good buddy, the Engineer, in the bottom lane. Fusion saying, I got you, buddy.
BMG just pulling out the strats. I mean, this is perfectly, or this is definitely the time to do so. But holy fuck, and the trash talk coming out from Root of Sea. I love it. Reason Gaming, they must be feeling so tilted after that. A double tap from those Spider-Mans. It couldn't have been more perfect.
Wow, some really impressive stuff right now. If you are on the BMG team, though, you have to make sure that you check your emotions because you've got to be feeling elated with the way that things are going so far. But you need to remember, the game's not over until the Shrine is out and the GGs have been called.
Yep.
You've got the advantage. Now you got to make sure you don't make mistakes and lose it.
And only on these bubbles in the mid lane. He is the farming, or he's the leading gold per minute so far. He just picked up a DD as well. If he gets that level 6 in the near future, he might even be able to get a solo kill onto Miraxus. Of course, his Arcane Shield is not going to help versus the bubbles whatsoever.
Bottom lane, Puppet Master, despite that dive earlier, is doing relatively well. 319 gold per minute.
Oh, look at the rotation at the top
That
lane, but the Ward of Sight is just gonna run out, but it's gonna spot the Magnus and the more talk about timing right there.
Root of Z, not only does he fall back far enough right there, he actually turns around, gets the last hit on the catapult, and spots the Ward of Sight and pings it out. So he's going to be able to get not only the information that it's there, but possibly even allowing his team to get the counter ward on that a little while later. Now, Puppet Master's doing well in the bottom lane, but the top farmer in the game is actually going to Bubbles in the middle lane, only dominating here.
That he is. He's playing really well. Of course, being him versus a melee hero, he doesn't have too much to be afraid of, so he can safely last hit. But yeah, doing a really good job as Omi usually does in those 1 versus 1 situations. The most important part, I feel, is that the Clanks is suffering. He was more or less in a 2 versus 1 situation up here at the safe lane, but he is at roughly 220 gold per minute.
And once again, Boxy going for the Veiled Rot as he takes out a triple camp. Triple hard camp.
I love this. I have never seen this strategy being used, but it's so smart. I didn't even know that it worked.
I was not aware of this one either. Engineer comes in with the keg to help Boxy finish this one off. He's probably going to want to health pot up here in just a moment.
Oh, he's going to die!
Oh.
Oh my god!
Well,
That was, well, it was not optimal. He got a Vagabond later, I guess, but he could have. He was a little bit
an error.
greedy.
That was the confidence of being 16 years old and thinking that, I'm going to get the auto attack before he kills me.
He was on a roll. He wanted to continue the
And that's
momentum.
what I'm saying. I feel like if they had not had as good of a start as they did right there, Boxy evaluates that situation in the risk-reward a little bit more.
Yeah, that's
says,
a good point.
I shouldn't be taking this risk. Instead, he goes for the risk, and that's Boxy for you. High risk, high reward.
Yep, not quite paying off in this scenario. Bubbles, by the way, he hit at level 7 now in the mid lane as well. Miraxus, how is he doing? 270 gold per minute. Not the shabbiest, but not the best at the same time.
Evo hitting level 6
Look at
right
the top
here.
lane. There's a
That's
Strider
strong.
Smack who's going to try to find Midas, but he is going to get out of there.
I mean, a level 6 Midas, though, bolstering armband, I just don't know if there's enough damage in the world to bring this guy down without just tons of stuns. And between a Moira and a Magmus, I mean, they have a good amount of lockdown, but just not enough damage. Invis Bubbles on top of Invis Devo right here. Boxy, he narrowly avoids this gank. Are they going to grab the courier
I don't think they got any damage to kill him, do they? Miraxus is nearby.
Oh, God. If they actually
With
go on Miraxus and Devo is here to interrupt that gank, that could be devastating.
Yep, they need to be careful. Of course, Arcane Shield works very well versus the Swift Slashes as well. Yeah, it seems like Recent Gaming, they are not quite sure what to do at this point. They're just running around all over the map trying to get kills, but so far being unsuccessful with doing so.
Puppet Master has overtaken the GPM lead here in the bottom lane, already picking up the Helm of the Victim on the way toward the Whispering Helm. So going to be able to get the big stacks nice and quick. Not going for the Assassin's Shroud that he actually picked up in the games previously in this tournament.
I would have preferred the Assassin's Shroud in this game, just seeing as Clanks is struggling so much. If he could have gotten that Assassin's Shroud and then gotten a few pickups on the Clanks before he got the Final Claw, then he would have delayed the farm on Clanks by significant amounts. So, I don't know. He wants to go safe, go for the Whispering Helm. I don't agree. I feel like he should have gone aggressive, especially when he has a Devour and an Engineer, you know, and a Midas doing so well on his team. I feel like they could have set up some really nice ganks.
I think I agree with you, but at the same time, maybe he is going to head to the jungle in just a minute here, head to the Ancient, and let Devo actually start farming that lane so that they can spread that farm out a little bit more evenly. He is, of course, the designated Ancient taker on this team. Midas is definitely going to be able to do that as well, but you probably prefer your Puppet Master over there on the hard camp.
Yeah, I don't feel like Devour needs too many items. It's more or less just about the levels in the early game, like getting that hook up to level 4 and then just rotating around, getting a Veiled Rod, getting some Striders. That's all we need more or less at this point.
Well, for right now, the team's playing pretty dang passive. Only 3 kills here in the 9 minutes thus far. Both teams trying to get those hard carries farmed up pretty well.
That is Tankafat, by the way, have taken over this top lane instead of Clanks, who's rotated back into the forest and tries to farm some hard stack or some camps. But Midas still up here, level 7, finish those steamboats. He's going to get a Mystic Vestment in the near future if he chooses to go for one. And I feel like he should, because if he gets that Mystic Vestment, I don't see any way whatsoever for the Helmut team to pick him off unless they are 3 heroes committed.
Middle lane, looks like Bubbles could be in a little bit of trouble. Devo goes with the Eat. Miraxus does have the ultimate activated right here, but it's more defensive than anything else. Devo's here. Magmus gonna take the fall. Midas was like, hey, what's going on? Here's a stun for you.
Tankafat being a little bit too overcomfortable right there, stunning in for a Devourer that was more or less like 80% health. They should have just been happy with getting out with Bubbles alive.
Yeah, a little bit of overconfidence coming in. But for now, it looks like the guys of BMG happy to take this a little bit slower, grab the pick-off when it is given to them, but not really going out of their way to try to force any fights until they get those items like Quincy was talking about. The Whispering Helm, the Shrunken Head, the Assassin's Shroud on Puppet Master, and of course the PK on Miraxus, and potentially a nice item on either Midas or Devourer.
That it is. Swiftblade, by the way, down at the bot lane. He has that Veiled Rod. He's looking for the Puppet Master. I'm pretty sure that he can get a free kill or a solo kill.
Double Veiled Rod. Magnus is going to go ahead and stun on in. Swiftblade going to go for the spin first, so he's going to need to be able to get the ultimate off, and it looks like the Ephemeral... What? Okay, he definitely bounced away very quickly, but the Ephemeral Forge was key right there to getting the vision.
I'm not entirely sure why he uses Swift Slashes. That was a 100% dead Puppet Monster. Perhaps he was worried about Devourer supporting in and hooking him out, and he just wanted to kill him fast, but
Yeah,
in the end, definitely not worth it.
I could understand using the Swift Slashes there, but he used the spin already, and Puppet Master was already so low, but in the end, you use what you got to use to get the kill and feel comfortable about not getting counter-ganked or whatnot. So they bring down the Puppet, and that's what's really important here.
Clanks, by the way, he is gonna overtake Puppet Master here in gold per minute in the near future. Soon he's gonna hit that Final Claw timing as well, and I really feel like BMG, no matter, like, they started out so well. They got a super offensive lineup, but so far, I mean, going for the Whispering Helm onto Puppet Master, going for Fortified Bracelet onto Midas as well, instead of just rushing for a Portal Key timing. I feel like it's a little bit wrong, like the mindset is a little bit wrong, or the items. I feel like they should just go for more defensive items or offensive items. Maybe even use the Veiled Rods that Recent Gaming have been using so much in this game, and just go for those kills onto Clanks, because they need to delay that Final Claw timing. Until he hits that timing, there's no way that he can take actions. Or he can take the action, but it's going to take a significant amount of time.
Sure, but at the same time, even if he does hit that Thunderclaw timing, and then BMG hits their timings with level 6 on Engineer, just grabbed that one, Portal Key on Varaxis, and potentially the next big item on Puppet Master, there's a point where Clanks is just not able to fight.
Look at the bot lane, by the way, they're going to try to get the deny. Bubbles not going to make it. Actually, not even trying to, or attempting to deny it. He's just going to shell surf instead. That was a little bit odd by Bubbles.
Yeah, very odd indeed. Swiftblade in the middle lane does have the Invis rune, but not going to be able to set up anything on Meraxis because he does not have that Swift Flashes. Used it in the bottom lane, and of course Meraxis with the Sticking Boots, he's a pretty tanky dude. Set to strength right now, sitting at 1200 HP, and of course some armor coming in from that W.
Yeah, and here is the problem with BMG's lineup. Unless they can actually steamroll, unless they can actually get those pickoffs, they're not going to be able to take objectives. They're not going to be able to fully commit to those team fights. The Hellworld team definitely got their upper hand when it comes to not only the late game, but also when it comes to team fighting. They got the Bubbles, they got the Swift Slashes, the Magnus ultimate, the Moira ultimate. They just got so much team presence. So I really feel like BMG, they missed their window of opportunity a little bit. It's still not too late, but they still they should really start to pick up the pace here.
Yeah, at this point, they've waited long enough that they can afford to wait another 2 minutes for Meraxis Portal Key. That should be the timing that they're looking for.
Look at the bot lane, by the way, Swift Slash is going to come out.
And Puppet, or excuse me, Engineer is indeed going to fall. But with the Swift Flashes on cooldown, that's a window for BMG to say, we can take this tower with impunity. Even killing off the Ephemeral Forge right there. So they've really got the ability to take this one, but they're feeling scared still.
Yeah, they don't have anyone to tank the tower. That's the thing. They don't have an Astro. They don't have any creeps whatsoever. So it's just so difficult. I mean, with the Bubbles behind, with the Kelpfill can easily set up. They don't know for a fact where Magnus is. He can be rotating in behind or even being Veiled Rot. So I feel like this is super risky by BMG. And if they actually commit to this push, I feel like it's going to hurt them.
Oh, they're actually going to find Moira, and down goes Nier, but that's only a level 4 support. So they've blown a little bit right there, including the Devourer E. And Bubble's going to go for the deny this time. Not going to happen.
Close
Mackay
one. Nice
gets
attempt.
the last hit, and that's enough for his Portal Key. It's flying on out.
All right, now they should definitely try to make something happen here. Clanks just picked up that Thunder Claw, so this is the perfect time for that Legion team to actually make something happen before he gets to steamrolling. Oh, they got an Astro as well on Midas already?
Yep, just picked on up. I believe that he's got the bracer, so I have to assume that is indeed his and Midas. So that's why he actually ended up not rushing the Portal Key. He got the bracer instead. Makes some sense.
Yeah, definitely. I love to have Astro on at least one member in every single team. Not only if you have a jungler, just if you have a suicide hero or a strength hero in general, Astro is such a great item, one of the best items in the game, no doubt, especially if you want to bring the early aggression, which I would assume that BMG are looking to do here in the near future. I'm not quite sure how far BMG or Puppet Master are from his Shroud, by the way. Does he have any items yet?
I actually don't believe that he does. If he does, it's only going to be one of those Steam snaps. But he's a little bit on the poor side. He was pressured quite a bit by the Swiftblade. Of course, one kill resulting from that pressure, but
I feel like he should have at least one or two. Yeah, there is the Steam stuff actually being delivered, and he got another one here in the works. So he's probably going to have it in like 2-3 minutes, maybe 4.
Yeah, 3 to 4 minutes sounds about right. But on the other side, an Energizer picked up by Swiftblade and BMG. I don't think they need to wait for that Assassin's Shroud timing.
No,
I think that they need to strike now while Clanks is in his hyper farming stage.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he gets a shrunken head, which it appears that he's going for next, this is going to be so much more difficult to bring down the Clanks.
A.R.M.S is going to hit his bulky timing as well on the bubbles here in the mid lane now.
And
It's going to be picked up. And Magnus as well. Wow, both of them got bulkies. This could be big for them. If they actually like destroy BMG in one team fight, just take them by surprise with those two bulkies, I could see this game actually ending relatively soon. Because BMG, they're all about that momentum. They're all about those kills early on, like get those pickoffs. And when it comes to team fighting, I feel like this Clanks is really going to get out of control. I don't feel like they're going to be able to deal with him if it goes to the late game. Sure, Puppet Master is relatively good versus him, but I feel like Mora on that, or I feel like he's got enough backup for or like to be able to survive in those team fights.
All right, now BMG continuing to just kind of hang out. Boxy looking to defend the bottom lane, saying if you get anywhere near this tower, I'm going to hook you. My team's going to TP in and you're going to die. But they decide to back on up, and once again, Reason going to be allocating a lot of their resources to trying to take over the enemy jungle. They've been sitting in that one for a while, but they didn't drop any wards in the enemy jungle, which I find a little bit curious.
Yeah, not entirely sure why.
Instead, opt to drop one on the other side of the mid lane here. Definitely going to be a strong ward if you want to spot anybody rotating into the jungle or rotating toward that bottom rune. Engineer actually going to be one right there.
Yeah, that was an energizer by Swiftblade right there. You could see how well or how much he wanted to use that Swift Slashes on the Engineer. By the way, is there...
Puppet Master going to be in trouble right here. Bubbles and Magmas are here. There's the channeled up eruption, and down goes Puppet Master immediately. Wow, 3 TPs going to be coming in though, and Devourer does have the Striders active. Going to be trying to get on out of there, maybe go for the blind hook. No, not going to happen. Rax is still going to be looking for Magmas. Not going to happen either. So a well-executed gank creating space for Clanks to continue hyper farming. He just picks up the hammer, and I believe that's going to be a shrunken head on the way.
Yeah, well played by Reason Gaming. That combination between Magmas and Bubbles is just so powerful. I'm not quite sure. Maybe Quincy can provide us with some stats on the win rate of those two heroes in the same team. I believe it's quite high.
I would certainly think so as well, but the guys from BMG, I mean, they made kind of an error. They dropped 2 wards at the same time in the enemy jungle, which is great if you want to take over the enemy jungle. If you're taking over the enemy jungle, you need to be in the enemy jungle. Instead, they're farming their own jungle where they have no vision, no defensive wards whatsoever. And of course, your Puppet Master is going to be taken out. An error in strategy there.
Yeah, I really feel like the execution of BMG's draft hasn't been perfect. I feel like there's a lot to work on when it comes to that. Just the aggression or like the aggression play, it just haven't happened at all throughout the entire game. They got like 1 kill onto Clanks in the early game with some rotations coming over, but ever since that, I mean, they haven't been using any Veil Rod at all. And this is BMG, the team that's mostly known for just running constant Veil Rods all the time. I know that there is a timer on the shop, and I maybe the Devour using those Veil Rod stacks early on into the game to get those stacks in the forest actually hurt them in that way. They just don't have it stacked up now in the stock.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that's worked out in their favor. Boxy, he's level 8. I mean, he's got a Grave Locket, the Striders, the Cloak, but those vestments, they're not enabling him to actually set up those aggressive kills. No Tablet of Command, no Portal Key, nothing that's actually enabling him to be the initiator that he would like to be. Meraxes, I mean, he's used the Portal Key like once to actually try to set anything up. They didn't get a kill out of it, and BMG, they're failing a little bit right here, even though they do have the items they need. Now, Devo's going to have to go for a hard hook, and he finds it. Swiftblade going to be able to get the spin off. Bubble's going to be able to get the stun and the silence on the back row. Engineer falls without being able to get his ultimate off. Swift Slashes take out Devo, and now Merax is going to be in trouble as well.
Here
it looks like Clanks is going hard. He's going to head on into the Kongor pit, and now they're going to have to turn around onto Midas. That's a bound eye. They're going to have to recover this one. Midas needs to get out of
Elemental
there.
Warp is up. He's using the man offensively instead, though.
Kills the Moira. And so I guess they're not going to have to recover that bound eye at all.
Well played by Root of Sea. Most people would have panicked, just Elemental Warp behind. Yeah, I probably would have as well, but he's just like, I'm going to go balls to the wall here. I'm going to go for an offensive kill, and he gets it. Clank's actually retreating. I found that a little bit curious, because I feel like 3 versus 1, they could have potentially juked the Midas, but I think Clanks was afraid that Midas might have backup.
Yeah, certainly would be a pretty scary proposition. Even though he's very farmed, he does only have 1100 HP. Now, I gotta say, that team fight should have gone a lot worse for Reason Gaming, primarily because the engineer should have been able to get his ultimate off. Credit for that 100% going to Owned Me on the bubbles, was able to jump behind the fight itself, goes for the blind silence, and is able to get his ultimate on 3 people as well. So that's really what stopped the follow-up initiation. Now Moira scouting out the jungle with the Ephemeral Forge. Boxy just devours that one right quick. And now they're going to put some pressure on the middle tower.
And by the looks of it, they are actually going to get it as well. Eruption is up on Magnus, but it's just level 10, so it's not a level 2 ultimate quite yet. And it feels like Reason Gaming, yeah, they're going to do what they do best. They're going to go for the counter push.
That was some really solid decision-making coming out of the guys from BMG, knowing that the big cooldowns like Bubble's ultimate and the Swift Slashes were on cooldown. They opt to really apply a lot of pressure, not only into the opposing jungle, but of course the middle lane, even dropping that ward behind where the middle tier 2 would have been. It's going to provide a lot of vision of anybody that might come into the jungle, and they can once again establish their presence up there in the top lane.
Look at this, by the way. Engineer got a bound eye of his own. They got 2 bound eyes here up at the top, running in next to each other.
Holy crap.
They are serious about the map control right now. They know for a fact that they are not confident enough to take this into the late game, not versus that Clank's hero. So they are just like, okay, we're going to pick up 2 bound eyes, we're going to get complete map control, and we are going to gank, gank, and gank.
The only way that they're going to be able to win this game is through the use of that map control. So I 100% agree. They need at least 1 bound eye. 2, it's definitely an interesting one. But they're going to be able to split this map. Ideally, you want it about 70-30. Draw the line right about here and contain at the tier 2s. If you're able to take the majority of that farm, you're going to, of course, establish a pretty solid resource lead. But so far, they're down 3,500 experience as a result of BMG sticking together so much throughout the game.
Did you wait? I'm just gonna wait with this a little bit. Okay, is there a team fight coming? No, not quite yet. The Weir, or how do you pronounce that? Weir Beast Enchanter in the forest to the left. You see that little creep controlled by Puppet Master?
Yeah.
He actually uses that to shake Kongor. Like that vision spell. He just keeps it in the forest and then he shakes Kongor over and over again whenever he wants. I'm not quite sure what the cooldown is on that hero or on that little creep, but
I have no clue. It's something that we've seen so very frequently over the years. But of course it does have a pretty strong vision spell right there. And I believe something like really strong night vision as well.
yeah, definitely interesting. BMG just running those new strats over and over, or those very interesting small little tricks. Devourer, though, he had a very nice impact in the game early on with those hooks and, of course, the jungle presence, but 200 gold per minute hasn't necessarily had the most impact in kills and assists. And
Boxy might be going for a hook right now. And there's the Mirax's stun, but the creeps are there. Really poorly planned by BMG. They saw the creep wave, and now they're going to pay for it. Devourer going to take the stun. The keg misses. Engineer does get his ultimate off. The heal going to be going out from the Lion's Pride, but Tivo's down.
Oh, and look at
a
the bubbles.
3-man silence into a 3-man kelp field. Engineer going to be taken very low, and Midas going to go down. Engineer's down. Both bound eyes are on the ground, and it's now going to be just Miraxis. BMG's in a ton of trouble. The Miraxis is going to fall, and a genocide. 5 for 0. Double bound eyes recovered. That is all the momentum that Reason Gaming needs, and I don't know how BMG comes back from this.
Well played by Reason Gaming, though, capitalizing on the momentum. They knew for a fact that the hook was down, the Miraxis Quake Stun was down, the pole keys were on cooldown, and the keg missed as well in the start of that fight. So well played by Tankafed, well played by A.R.M.S, setting all of that kills up, getting a complete genocide, and now Reason Gaming are looking really, really strong here in game number 2. You are not going to be able to beat that Clanks. It's just...
He's just too farm.
Yeah, he's just too farm. And it seems like, I'm not quite sure what the percentage-wise, like win percentage-wise, is for Clanks during this tournament, but I'm pretty sure that the Clanks has pretty much won every single game that he's been picked up.
He has been an extremely strong pick throughout the tournament, I agree. But, I mean, I got to say, that just goes back to some really odd movement right there by BMG. They wanted to go ahead and make that pick happen, but they knew for a fact that the creeps were coming. They had the ward. We were able to see not only the creeps were coming, but the heroes that were in the vicinity as well. They still attempt for that one, knowing full well that there's double portal keys on the bubble, as well as the magmas, and they pay for it dearly.
That it did, and they lost 2 bound eyes in that scenario as well. That's 1.4k gold. That's not a small sum, not coming out from your engineer.
And we talked about how important that map control was going to be. They lose it right there with the bound eye. Not only are they no longer able to get the counter wards off themselves, but they're giving the opportunity to their opponents for free.
That they are. And now there are 2 bound eyes on the horror side of Hellborn instead. Just 1 newly buffed from Engineer on the Legion side.
Jeez. They are just investing a lot of money, and unfortunately for Fusen, he is going to be very poor as a result of these bound eye purchases. Still just sitting on Striders, 26 minutes and 5 towers down.
Here comes the Veiled Rot gang from... who was that? Someone used Veiled Rot, but it seems like they just cancelled it.
Yeah, nothing too much going to be coming out there, but Reason, I like this. Grouping up as 5, they know that they can absolutely take a team fight, 100% all day. I mean, I said at the beginning of the game, I don't know how they take a team fight. A 10,000 gold lead and a 5,000 experience, backward there. That's one way that they can take a team fight.
Yeah, and look at the bottom. They are setting up Bubbles is here with a haste rune. He can easily set it up if he wants to. There's the Shell Surf. He's not gonna port in quite yet, though. Seems like Reason Gaming just want to play it safe, just trade towers.
Trade, yeah.
I think that's a wise decision. They do not have map control over this area.
They're not even going to actually force the situation down here. Very afraid of potential TPs coming back. The Miraxis as well as the Devourer had the potential to throw a big wrench at the plans there. So they're playing the much more safe option. And while it might not be as entertaining for the fans, I think that's the correct option. They know they have this massive of a resource lead as well as the late game. They're in a position where the only way they lose this is if they throw.
Yep. I completely agree. This is the game that they can only lose if they throw. Yeah, Swindlemelon's quote, indeed.
Well, Shrunken Head finished up on Puppet Master. That's certainly going to help out a little bit against the massive stuns of the Reason Gaming squad. But the massive physical damage coming out of Clanks, he's still going to have a little bit of trouble with that one.
Yeah, I could very likely see Swiftblade picking up a Porky here in the near future as well. He got the gold saved up in the near future, 1.8k gold so far. And if he gets that as well, follow it up on the Magmus and the Bubbles initiation, I feel like it's just going to be complete panic from BMG's side in those team fights. Like, they're not going to know who to focus, what to do, who to coordinate their stunts on. It's just going to be complete madness.
Madness indeed, for they can call the forest a Caldivar Sparta from this day forward.
Oh,
and,
there's the dust
pops
on
off
Engineer.
a dust. They find the Ephemeral Forge Moira, but nothing else going to be going on. And it looks like the guys from Reason, I mean, they're taking out the Ancient, but they could be setting up for a Kong right now as well.
Yeah, they should definitely look to go for this Kong kill. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to commit.
BMG are well aware. They're going to go ahead and pop the Veil Drop. This is going to be a big team fight.
Yeah, there is the Enchanter providing the vision for his team.
Mirax is going to blink on forward, is able to catch Swiftblade into the hook. Magma stun on 2, Silence onto 3, Bubbles ult onto 3 as well. Mirax is trying to get on out of there, but it's not going to happen, at least not yet. Well, okay, he's doing a little bit better. Swift Slash is going off. The Midas and Miraxis, the only 2 left, as the Puppet Master did fall. And Clanks going to the high ground. One more auto attack onto the Midas, making a Shell Surf and a Genocide one more time. A buyout onto Boxy. He might even try for a hook. Double Bound Eyes killed by Clanks.
Oh my god, that hurts.
Oh, wow. So that is now 2 Bound Eyes killed. Another one lost.
That's so unfortunate. All 3 Bound Eyes. Yeah, all 3 Bound Eyes actually were
They recover
killed.
1 actually right there.
Oh, they got 1. Damn, Clanks, you missed 1. You should have gotten a hat trick on Bound Eyes.
Still a very solid fight coming out of the guys from Reason Gaming. And wow, the illusions from Clanks doing some work right there on Midas as well. I mean, Reason, they'd love to have taken that Kongor, but at the same time, they'll wait until their cooldowns are back up. They'll get on in there one more time. And the sneaky Miraxis with the Shrunken Head, I guess he had just picked that up as well.
Yeah, once again, I feel like this is just going to come down to that wing bow on Clanks. As soon as he hits that timing, there's just nothing that BMG can do about it. It's just such a powerful item on this hero. The extra range, it just goes so well with his ultimate and his passive. And of course, this Hawk ability as well, just flying over the cliffs, having that insane out-attack range. It's not easy to deal with. But as we saw in that last teamfight as well, like when Magmus and when Bubbles jumps in, and the Swiftblade as well, he actually went for that pull key. I like that option. Then, like BMG, it's just complete chaos. They don't know what to do. They can't focus anyone. They need to focus Clank somehow, but they don't get the luxury for jumping in the back.
Yeah, it is very difficult with the heroes that they have here. And I mean, even Devo, he'd love to be able to get these really fancy portal key hooks and whatnot, but it's just not been realistic for him so far. There's too much counter initiation coming out. And of course, even if he does get the hook, maybe something like an Arcane Vortex comes out from Moira, allowing them to reset and once again get off a nice big ultimate from Magmus, get the bubbles in there for the massive silences. And of course, with the Jailbird Bane popped by Clanks, he can get right on out of there, no problem.
Yeah, and this was a last pick Devourer on top of all, so they knew exactly what they were versus. A Moira, not necessarily, or like a pretty good hero, versus the Devourer because of that Arcane Vortex. Then the Swiftblade, of course, with his spin, with his ultimate, and the bubbles as well. Like, it was a nice idea, definitely, running the Forest Devourer. It could have worked out, but it just comes down to the Whispering Helm, first item on Puppet Master as well. The decision from BMG just or allow Recent Gaming to recover from that laning phase.
Yeah, they simply didn't apply enough pressure. Now one more time, the Kong is going on. And it looks like Bubbles blinks
look at the
defensively. They've got the vision here. And they're going to initiate a double stun from Magmus. The Harkin Blade's going to be going out as well. They hook Clanks, but I'm not sure what that's the target that they want here. Devo is going to go down to the Swift Slashes. The Engineer Field going to go ahead and cover the retreat. Meraxis goes back in. The Matrax is popped.
Nice,
going to be doing some damage, and down goes Clanks. The Arcane Vortex a little bit late right here. Magmus going to be stunning on out. Bubbles comes back in. Swiftblade Portal Key up onto the high ground, trying to take out the Midas, but Midas maybe even turning it around a little bit himself right here. It is madness as Meraxis is trying to get on out of there. One more auto attack from Bubbles will be enough. He gets the blink. No, he goes down. And on the backside here, it's going to be the Swiftblade losing the battle to the Midas and the Puppet Master, who went and just did some work in that fight himself. So just
that was
like
a crazy fight indeed.
That
I'm
was
not even sure who came on top.
I think that
BMG
BMG
there goes
actually
Onmi
did
once
pretty
again.
well. But Onmi doing work. The saving grace here for the guys of
He might have to pay for it though. Where's the Devourer? He's looking for the hook. He's not. He's gonna hit it.
Big hook coming on in. The Ephemeral Forge is there. Will the Shards of Harkon be enough? They're not able to get the stun, and down goes Matt H, aka Owned Me.
That was Bubble Storm Spirit as well. I was like, that Storm Spirit. Was that Puppet Monster doing that, or was Devourer already had a Storm Spirit? Because it lined up perfect for that hook.
He was hoping that he'd be able to get the blink off, but it was just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Boxing with the perfect reflexes, and okay, BMG saying we're not done yet.
That they are not. Wingbow though closing in on Clanks. It's still, I feel like still BMG, like they need to make something happen. They need to keep the aggression up. They made a nice statement there that they're not done, that they're still in this game number 2, but somehow I feel like Veiled Rot ganks might be necessary for them to once again win a team fight.
Getting the surprise initiation is always something that they should be aspiring to here. But on the side of Reason Gaming, not only is it Clanks that's farming quite well, but they will indeed have Sacrificial Stone just picked up by Magmus. He was utilizing that for the last team fight. And, I mean, what's the next big item you think that Onmi's going to go? Will he look for something like a sheep?
I wouldn't be too surprised if he were to go for the sheep. I don't really see anything else that Bubbles necessarily needs at this point. He doesn't need a tablet to cancel any null stones whatsoever on the Legion side, so sheep sticks very likely, but first of all he needs to save up for that buyback.
Yeah, currently just a little bit too broke for that one.
Yeah, if Nero and Moira can hit that Portal Key timing as well, there
They're
goes the
gonna
K-Wake
fight here
stun.
one more time. Magma's going to be able to get the stun, or excuse me, Devo gets the hook right there after the Midas stun. Devourer gets annihilated by Clanks though, and now Midas going to be in trouble after breaking the Kelp field. A beautiful start from the guys of Reason, and Puppet Master going to turn it around, going to go ahead and get this kill onto Magma. Swift Slash is going off as Meraxis and Puppet Master are taking those ones out. The Arcane Vortex onto the two shrunken-headed targets.
The energy field though.
Going to be going off. They take it out immediately. BMG looking very bad in this one. Buyback coming out from Devo. Going to be able to grab Clanks, but he gets silenced out. Devo going to die a second time. Clanks going to get Storm Spirited, and a big genocide coming out from the guys of Reason. They're going to go for the back door onto the bottom tower. They say, screw Kongor, man. We're going cutthroat, taking the high ground.
I love it. I love it. Reason Gaming, they should definitely go for the high racks in this case. There's so many times where you just win a team fight and you're like, yes, go for Kongor. It's safer. They might have buybacks on the Legion side, but they say, screw it. We're going to take the risk. We're going to go for it. High reward, no risk. Meraxis is actually the only one with a pull kit or with a buyback at this point, so they should be able to take this if they dare to.
They're trying to force buyouts, and they're going to quickly learn there are not buyouts to force. They're going to go ahead and very easily take this tower, although Swiftblade is quite low. Going to go ahead and spin, hit the Energizer, and get on out of there. Portal key acquired by Moira, meaning that she's going to be able to get into these fights much easier. Expect to see the impact from Near go up considerably. But the guys from Reason, I mean, do they even have the ability to take Kong right now, or is it too risky?
They don't. They actually, maybe taking Conqueror actually would have been the right decision because they just didn't feel confident enough to actually break the base. Like they were turning or taking turns in tagging the tower, wasn't sure, was constantly looking for the buybacks. If they would have fully committed, I'm pretty sure that they would have had a Miller-Rex as well. They got 2 towers, so they got a lot of gold on that, and now Bubbles is already on his way towards that sheepstick of his, and I'm pretty sure that Clanks got that wingbow when he's back here in base. There it is.
Wingbow, pretty big pickup indeed. I believe Magnus has got to be picking something up himself. He had 1,500 gold before that team fight. He did actually have to buy back. That's where that goes.
Engineer, by the way, has not been very successful in this game. I haven't been talking too much, or we haven't been talking too much about it, but why did they go for Engineer in this lineup when they had Devourer in the jungle? I assumed that it was going to be some kind of offensive kind of strat with the kegs. That's usually when, there's a fight going.
Another big team fight coming out here. Bubbles trying to take cover. He's very low, and he's going to be able to get out of there for now. The Storm Spirit going to be able to get the blink, maybe. Magnus going to be coming on in with the big eruption. Puppet Master trying to turn it around, but here comes the Arcane Vortex. Magnus going to be looking for another stun perhaps, but Swift Slashes onto only the Puppet Master. He's going to be able to shroud, no detection. He's able to get away for now.
They're actually going to be able to live with 3 heroes, so not the worst exchange in the world.
Bubbles wants to make it 4. Nope. Not going to be able to get that kill. They have to fall back and take the Kong. That is now the 4th team fight to break out at Kong. This is the first one where they come out significantly ahead enough so that they can fall back and take the Conqueror.
BMG is just not able to break into the later or at the to the back of the team fight to get to that Clanks. There's just too much support in the way. Swiftblade, Magnus, Bubbles. I mean, did you see Only in that team fight? He played to perfection every single time, and he survived with like 20 HP or something. A beautiful Storm Spirit into a take cover, allowing him to pull key out and securing the team fight for his team. He's just doing such a good job.
Very low HP Bubbles drew all of the attention in that team fight, enabling his team to sit there and pound the damage from the back line. Magnus was able to get off a beautiful eruption and some nice stuns. Reason continuing to look good as they bring their experience lead to nearly 30,000.
That they did. Mora, by the way, he got a pole key, so he's going to be able to save Clanks whenever he gets into trouble, or anyone else for that matter. Just make it so much more powerful, that pole key pickup on the Mora. The hero just rises another level, more or less.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about the efficiency of either a Moira versus the Engineer, at least in this specific game, Moira has been utilizing the Ephemeral Forge and Portal Key to actually drop Engineer to about 20% life on 2 separate occasions in a simple 1v1. I mean, she's just able to apply so much more pressure, currently 5 levels higher, and her utility significantly more so.
Yeah, he's been limited more or less to those spider mines in the beginning, getting the double tap, but that's as far as, or that's as much success as Engineer has had in this game.
Look at BMG right now.
Oh, sneaky,
This is going to be their last hurrah. They either need to take this fight, or I think that this might be GG. But they've got the ward as well.
Who do they initiate on, though? They have to get the Magnus. They don't have any big beats. They have 2 big beats, but I still feel like they need to go on the Magnus.
They might need to go on the Magnus. There's the double stun coming out from Meraxis. They hook the Clanks into the energy field, but there's the Arcane Vortex defensively. Magnus going to be going on in. This eruption not really doing a whole lot. Swift Slashes, the 4-man stun coming out though. Magnus going to be actually doing a lot of work. Meraxis not going to be able to survive either. The Puppet Master is already dead. Ultimate Warrior streak, a double tap at GG. Well played. We're going to game 3.
Reason Gaming pulling it off, making this a best of 3 once again, going into the final game. But I really feel, I gotta say it, BMG, that was not the right jump. You got a double Quake stun. Yes, maybe they felt frustrated, maybe they felt forced to do so, but they had to get that Magnus. I mean, you could see that level 3 eruption, that lava surge hitting 3 players in that last team fight. It's just not going to work if you play it like that. But well played by Reason Gaming all over the map. Or definitely for Bubbles, I'm going to give him the MVP for this game.
Onmi definitely played quite well in that game, generating a lot of space, being able to dominate his lane at one point, of course, being the highest farmer in the game in that 1v1 matchup, and just looking impressive throughout. But the entirety of the Reason Gaming squad played quite well.
Now, that they did. BMG, it is the Clanks factor. I mean,
yeah. 5-2. He goes to 6-2 now. 75% win rate so far in this event. but that was a pocket strat from BMG.
That
Just
it
got
was.
destroyed.
It was very interesting. It seemed to work out in the early game with the spider mines, with the Devour in the jungle, of course, and all that. But in the end, I mean, they just couldn't pull the aggression off. And
Energy pretty low looking right there from the guys at BMG. Still sitting in the chairs, headsets on. Not really something that you typically see from a team that is high energy, looking to try to make a comeback. They're going to need to take this 5 minutes between the games, collect themselves, and say, that game did not happen. We're going back to the end of game 1. We're going to bring that energy all the way back up and make sure that we're able to carry it into game 3 and into the playoffs. It's their only option.
that it is. And we're going to be heading there soon. But first, I assume that we're going on a small break.
We are indeed going to go on to a very short break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are less than 5 minutes away from Game 3. Bad Monkey Gaming and the guys from Reason Gaming tied at 1-1. We'll be back live from Dreamhack Summer 2015.